I've built hundreds of PCs in my career, but this is one of the coolest ones yet. Let's take a closer look. Looking to grab Windows at a crazy discount? Head over to scdkey.com at the links below and use promo code BPS25 at checkout to score a sweet deal on Windows 10, Windows 11, and Microsoft Office. Once you've completed your purchase, just click over to your user center, hit the green button to view your code, copy and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and away you go. Check out SCDKey at the links in the video description for Windows, Office, games, and more. As some of you know, I recently embarked on a 30-day challenge to use an all AMD system as my daily production machine. I detailed the build and the results in this video, and honestly assumed I would go right back to using my Intel and Nvidia machine as it was simply better at the things that I do the most. Well, fast forward another month and a half and I'm actually still using the AMD system, as I decided that simply swapping back to an old build was boring. There were some new components that arrived since January and I wanted to take full advantage of them with a full rebuild. In putting together this system though, I actually thought that instead of just showing you the same old time lapse, I would instead talk about why I ended up liking it so much and the small details that make a project like this stand out from the rest. First up, let's talk about the case. This is the Thermaltake Ceres 500, a product they showed off at CES this year and was actually featured as the sponsor pre-roll on this channel. I've had it in office since then, trying to figure out the best use for its features. The Ceres 500 is actually quite a spacious enclosure, featuring support for up to a 420mm radiator at the front. Additionally, it has significant ventilation patterns cut into the front, top, and rear, as well as the sides of the power supply shroud. This should make it a great performer for high-end, power-hungry hardware that needs as much cooling as it can get. I also really like the side-mounted I/O and power buttons, as this case sits on my desk to my right, and this placement gives me easy access to plugging and unplugging devices. On the interior, the length from front to back means that even the largest graphics cards can fit without issue, as you can see, even with large radiator setups at the front. This wasn't the case with the Fractal North, as it was clearly designed for a smaller footprint, despite how much I actually liked that case. The Ceres 500 comes with a rotatable expansion slot cover and vertical GPU mount, meaning that you can mount your graphics card whichever way floats your boat without having to purchase any additional hardware, although you still will need a riser if you want to flip it vertically. There's also an included GPU support brace, although I chose to go in a different way here for a reason that we'll get into shortly. So the Ceres 500 is a really nice start to the build, but cases are cases, and there's more to it than that. I decided that the perfect complement to this type of a system would be screens. Any and all screens that I could arm myself with for quick information at a glance. The Ceres 500 provides a really unique opportunity for multiple system info screens, given its dimensions, as well as Thermaltake's own add-on LCD panel kit. The kit is a $99 add-on, so yes, it's not exactly cheap, and it does jump the total cost of the case to over $250. However, I've kind of come around to it being not such a bad deal. The panel comes with an internal USB 2.0 plug and installs in literal seconds with just 2 screws. It's incredibly easy to set up, and the Thermaltake software lets you choose from any number of different info screens or to rotate between them. You can show the temp, clock speed, power consumption, and other stats of your CPU or your GPU. You can show fan speeds or even the local weather and time. You can change the colors of fonts and backgrounds or just upload your own image. In this video, I showed you guys how to set up a system info panel in your build using a screen that will cost you about $50, so half of what this add-on costs. However, you then have to factor in the cost of cables, the time to physically install it, the cost of IDA64 if that's how you want to display your data, and the hours required to configure it. $99 and a few minutes of time actually seems like a pretty reasonable deal, and no, Thermaltake did not pay me to say that. I liked this little guy so much that I actually purchased a second one for use in future builds, as the screen itself is easily removable from the housing and can be set up wherever you want. Of course though, just one system info screen isn't enough for our needs. I took a 7-inch LCD panel and installed it to the back wall of the case. This is one of the benefits of having a longer motherboard tray. There's just more room to put stuff without feeling cramped. This could easily be space for a pump and reservoir or even storage drives, as the Ceres 500 does come with a drive sled that installs right in that spot. I drilled 2 small holes through the steel and screwed in the screen, running the power and HDMI cables out of the case through a small hole that I cut in the rear. These can then plug into the motherboard's I/O, and I'm taking advantage of the iGPU in the Intel i9-13900K as my output for this internal display. In order to enable this, you need to go into the BIOS and change the iGPU multi-monitor setting to enabled, and this will make your discrete video card your primary output while not shutting off the iGPU. By doing this, I'm able to run multi-monitor setups without bogging down the RTX 4090. I'm using Wallpaper Engine to run a really cool looking and color matched clock setup, giving the build a completely different look and feel to the standard PC case interior. With that said though, I'm sure it's now obvious why I didn't want to use this full height GPU support bracket, even though the Strix 4090 does suffer a bit of droop without it. This bracket was just simply in the way of the screen. Instead, I 3D printed a simple GPU support that matches the black-white theme and really blends well into the interior lines. I showed this system to a few people, and the consensus was that the brace actually looks like it's supposed to be there, which is the goal all along, to create a seamless visual aesthetic. We're not here to stop at just 2 screens though, that would be silly. Check out the Asus Ryuo 3. I think that's how you pronounce it. This was another CES 2023 product, and it has a couple of really awesome features. First, while it's an Asetek-based design, it uses their new Gen 8 pump with a 3-phase motor. This is supposed to operate quieter, more efficiently, and provide better cooling performance with less chance of failure. Second, the knurled aluminum exterior of the pump housing looks pretty striking and feels extra premium, especially when compared to similar AIOs that often just kind of look like cheap plastic. And third, the top of the pump housing is adorned with another screen. This one is different though, with Asus applying their anime matrix treatment for a fully unique appearance and animation style. The information available still includes all of your standard items, and as you can see, I've chosen to just have a simple CPU temperature animation playing. But the presentation is honestly pretty special, and again, allows the system to bring something different to the table. The fans in here are also pretty awesome. These are Thermaltake's new SWA-Fan EX, and they follow the mantra of, I guess, simpler is better. Each fan grouping here is connected by magnets that align the set of pogo pins. These pins transmit both power and signal to each fan connected in series, and it's all wired up with just one cable at the end. While this is a similar approach to Lian Li's Unifans, you don't need to clip the fans together, and the wire connector is small and flexible, making it easy to work around things like radiator tubes. The fans also come with 2 sets of blades so that you can have the air moving in either direction while still showing the pretty side of the housing. The blades are swept in opposite directions and are meant to be used as either intake or as exhaust. Blades easily pop on and off, and you can see that these front 140mm fans are configured as intake, while the top and the rear fans are exhaust. But they still all show the illuminated RGB ring and look identical while running. Do you think I would stop at 3 screens though? Yeah, I would. That seemed like plenty. But the end product here is something that I'm definitely proud of, and is a system that I'll have on my desk for the foreseeable future. What do you guys think? Is it overkill? Do you need access to this much information at a glance? Or maybe you think I didn't go far enough? Let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to get subscribed and hit that like button on your way out. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.